I don't know whether I should say it or not say it, but we definitely don't need 10-step Korean glass skin routines.
What is face yoga?
Face yoga is nothing more than exercising your facial muscles.
What is the biggest mistake people make when they're actually massaging their face?
They actually massage the neck upwards like this. Even when you go for an Indian facial, you know, the facialist massages the neck upwards. This is absolutely wrong.
People are terrified about aging, and every product says it is anti-aging. Where is this obsession coming from?
From the aesthetic industry, right? Have a wrinkle-free forehead. Why do we need a wrinkle-free forehead, right? Some lines are good.
There's so much about skincare. Why is there so much obsession about retinol?
I hate retinol. You know, later on these kids use retinol for a prolonged period of time. There can be birth defects in the child as well. Very complex, I know.
Exactly.
In true reality, just use and you should be okay.
What is your definition of beauty?
We can fight it, but we can't change the system.
Do you sometimes still feel like you're not enough? Hi Vibhuti, thank you so much for being here. I'm sure you've had a hectic week and you've made time to come here and talk to us about a lot of things that we have in line to ask you about. First of all, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. It's my pleasure, and I'm so excited to have this conversation with
I'm
you.
equally excited. So, I'm just going to ask you the most basic question, right? What is face yoga?
I think I've answered this so many times, but I'm always happy to readdress it. Face yoga is nothing more than exercising your facial muscles. Initially, when I started telling people that you need to exercise your facial muscles and there are muscles which are present in your face, people would laugh at me. Slowly and steadily, we got the scientific evidence, we got the facts, we spoke about the anatomy, the muscles of the face, which in turn linked to blood circulation enhancement, puffiness reduction, which is lymphatic drainage. All of this together, which is a combination of face massage, acupressure points, face yoga poses, and facial stretching, is summed up as the House of Beauty face yoga method.
What is your definition of beauty?
My definition of beauty is confidence in self. It's not how you look on the exterior. What I have also realized, sadly, is it's very important to be well-groomed, well-presentable, because that's how people perceive you and welcome you. And we can fight it, but we can't change the system.
Yeah, that's very true. That's very true. Because I think recently I read a survey which was done in the US where a lot of 15, 16-year-old girls want to go through surgeries for their face to become all symmetrical, for their noses to become a specific way. Why do you think all of this is happening?
I read that study as well, where on the 18th birthday in California, getting a facial surgery or a nose job it's become like a car you buy on the 18th birthday, right? That's the gift that girls are getting. Well, I think it's a lot of focus and representation, aesthetic representation of beauty that happens on social media. While there are good things, there are bad things as well, right? A lot of people are talking about how symmetrical faces look pretty, how a crooked smile is not good, so you inject something here to balance your smile. But do you remember those songs that were written about the broken smiling girl? And that was a perception of beauty at that point in time too. I think we need more people who are talking about the wellness aspect of beauty, intrinsically and externally, and change the norms of just focusing on the external aspect of beauty.
Right.
That's why, with House of Beauty, I've even named our tagline is Glow Inside Out.
Right.
Because yes, a groomed personality is important, but a confident person on the inside is way more important.
Exactly. Yeah.
And And what I'm trying to do with face yoga, with skincare, with the education I bring on the table is empower the fact that while you can aesthetically enhance, that is not the end of the world.
Yes.
There is so much more within.
Right.
If you accept that aging is inevitable,
Yeah.
I want to age gracefully.
Yes.
Yeah. I may look a certain way. I'm no Miss India, but I'm happy. I can excel in whatever I want to do. Now, this goes back to the previous question, right? Emotional strength, mental health, and that's where the wellness aspect comes in, the intertwining of the beauty and the wellness together. So that's my perception of beauty.
Despite being in this industry and despite doing all the work, do you sometimes still feel like you're not enough?
No.
Okay.
I took my time to say this, but no. So now I have, as you age, you become wiser. Yeah.
Yes.
Now I have realized that I am enough, and anybody who doesn't see me as enough, the flaw is in them, not me.
That's so profound. And what you very beautifully spoke about aging was in the ancient times, aging was considered to be you becoming wise, you becoming generous, and a lot of amazing qualities. But now people are terrified about the fact of aging. And every product that comes online says it is anti-aging. Where is this obsession coming from?
From the awareness of the aesthetic industry, right? At the end of the day, why are there are so many injectors who are talking about, oh, do Botox, have a wrinkle-free forehead? Why do we need a wrinkle-free forehead, right? I mean, yes, we don't like too many lines on our face because that gives you a tired appearance. And while I am also in the anti-aging business, but I'm trying to really push hard and say that some lines are good.
Right.
Some movement is good. It's going to show that you've not just had a healthy and wise life, but there is emotion in you.
Yes.
I mean, you're not frozen. You can't raise your eyebrows. You can't lift your eyes. You have puffiness later on. You don't need that's not anti-aging.
Right.
You can never freeze your age. You can never hide. Your hands are going to give it. Your neck is going to give it. Also, I think the focus is so limited to the face. But that's not anti-aging. Anti-aging is also of your organs. It's your organ health because your organs are aging. So again, beauty, wellness or yoga is not just of the face, right? You have to exercise. You have to initiate your blood circulation. You have to lead a healthy life. That is also anti-aging, but we don't focus on that aspect. We only focus on the face. This is anti-aging. A line-free, a symmetrical, a perfect smile, a perfectly measured face structure is...
Even now, when you look at all the young girls who are in the movie industry, they all start to look very, very similar, right?
Yeah.
And there is also a social responsibility that is out there, especially for people who are in the public eye, because a lot of young people are looking at them.
Yeah.
They draw inspiration from them. And sometimes it tends to go in a direction where they start to feel very insecure because this $500 billion industry, don't you think it in itself thrives on insecurity?
Oh yeah, totally. It does. Yeah. There's no denying that. And that is where a deeper understanding of self, a deeper understanding of self-awareness, self-content is very, very important. And this starts at a teenage level.
Yes.
That is where, as responsible mothers, we need to educate our daughters and tell them that it's okay. It's okay to have an individuality. You don't need to follow the herd. It may be difficult, but that's where you are going to stand aside the crowd, right? You don't need to always be in the crowd. You want to stand out. You want to be a change maker. And that's where you will also see the gaps as a teenager as to whatever your career option is. When you are not in the crowd, you can see through. And maybe you'll be the next change maker.
No, that's very true. So you were speaking about Botox. That was my next question. I mean, people know what it does to you and how seamless your face will start to look like. But what does Botox do to you on the inside?
Botox is basically a food poisoning bacteria, so when you get food poisoning, it's the same bacteria which is now lab made. A chemical compound is made of it. It is injected on your upper face so that all of you don't get crow's feet lines, you can't raise your eyebrows, you can't create 11 lines. So it freezes the muscle. Yeah, it freezes the muscle anywhere between a 3 to 6 month period.
Okay.
And when it's freezing the muscle, now because you're expressionless, you're not creating expressions, you will not create lines.
Oh, okay.
And that's where you get a completely calm skin.
Okay.
You get a very calm skin aesthetic on the outside. On the inside, not only is your muscle degenerating, I lead by example. Let's assume I've got Botox on my shoulder, and Botox started as a pain management injection.
Okay.
Yeah, when you had like cervical pain, you had shoulder pain, it started as a pain management injection, and then doctors saw that, oh, this is also brilliant for fine line reduction because now that's a side effect of it. Let's use it in the aesthetic industry.
Okay.
Now, when you've taken Botox, say for pain management on your shoulder or your forehead, you are not being able to lift. The muscle is paralyzed, so there's no lifting happening. What's happening is not only is this muscle degenerating, but the muscles around it are also degenerating.
Okay.
Yeah. Now there's lack of blood circulation here. There's lack of usage of this muscle.
Okay.
That's why the next time you go for your Botox injection, you'll have to increase the ml because you're now going to use it for a larger area.
Okay.
Yeah. And that restrictive blood circulation will cause muscle weakness over time. The muscle is going to go lethargic, sit on, and the lymphatic system is above it. So the lymphatic system is also not getting drained properly, which is leading to the droopy eyelid syndrome. A lot of puffiness around the eyes gets collected because, again, there's no movement happening.
Okay.
Lymphatic system needs movement, needs action.
Right.
Face yoga is a direct counter to this because what we do is we are unlearning the wrong motion of creating those lines because we understand that you don't want those fine lines or you don't want a tired appearance all the time.
Right.
So we're going to teach you how not to create unnecessary lines. But with face massage and facial stretching, what we're also doing is we're enhancing your blood circulation.
Okay.
So we are keeping that muscle active.
Okay.
Now what has happened, and initially I used to say face yoga is a direct alternative to Botox.
Okay.
Over the years, my theory has changed with experience, with the clients that come in to the center as well. Now I say, okay, you've done your Botox injection. Let me help you by supplementing face yoga.
Okay.
Because you can't fight the system.
Right.
You're going to do what you're going to do. But what I can do is at least help with facial massage, help with facial exercise. So there's a 1 month gestation. You wait up for a month after a fresh injection and then you start doing your facial exercises so that the degeneration of the muscle doesn't happen. And the surrounding muscles and the muscle here are still active. There's blood circulation. There's some movement happening.
Okay.
So that whatever long-term damage had to happen can be avoided.
Wow. Okay. I don't think a lot of us even know what actual Botox was used for in the first place, right? So you spoke about the lymphatic system. So help us understand how to kind of detox our face from that.
So the lymphatic system is a system or a network which is present all over your body. Our cells also excrete water, right? Toxic water that is not needed in the system, like we urinate. Now this water gets collected in the lymphatic system and then goes through detoxification and comes out as urine or sweat. Sometimes these lymph nodes get caught up and they do not pump correctly or need manual pumping.
Okay.
And when you need manual pumping, you can either do dry brushing. It's a hard bristle brush all over your body. In Ayurveda, you do Abhyanga, deep tissue massage to move your blood circulation and your lymphatic system. In face yoga, we start with simple tapping of the face. We start with the scissoring of the ears.
Okay.
We start with the lymph node acupressure point press all over the face to actually ensure that now this water comes out of the face and then doesn't give you a very puffy appearance.
Okay.
A major issue that people face is puffiness around the eyes. So there are 6 points, specific 6 points around the eyes. One is the inner corner. This is your tear duct point. You cry, so there's an eye bag there or a water bag there that actually does not, if it doesn't drain, it's going to clog up. You'll get heaviness here.
Okay.
The second point is under the eyeball and right above the eyeball. So second and third, yeah. This is your maximum puffiness point or storage point, because when people get malar bags here, that's where the fluid tends to get retained at this point.
Okay.
Then there's a point near your crow's feet on the corner of your eyes and right above. So 4 and 5. The 6th point is right above. You see a lot of times people get swelling here or an eyeball or eye bag here. This is the 6th point where there is a depression as well. It's an acupressure point. So what happens here, either there is an eye bag or a collection point or an acupressure point. Even in the acupressure point, when the lymph node stagnates and gets heavy, now it's like a bucket which is getting filled with water. And then suddenly, once there's no capacity to intake, it's going to perforate and it's going to show on the external. This is where external massage and drainage through the correct channel actually helps to depuff the face or activate the lymph.
Okay. So now what is the biggest mistake people make when they're actually massaging their face?
Not knowing the right techniques, not knowing the right points. Also doing it all wrong. Like one of the biggest mistakes I see all over the internet, whether they're doing a hand massage, they're doing a gua sha tool massage, they actually massage the neck upwards like this. Even when you go for an Indian facial, you know, the facialist massages the neck upwards. This is absolutely wrong, because the lymphatic network is present on the side and this is your terminus point across your collarbone. That's where the drainage has to happen. Now, if I've taken this lymphatic fluid, I've swiped, I've lifted, I've drained it from the sides, it needs to come down.
Okay.
If I'm going to bring it up, it's not just going to get collected around my jawline. I will lose the definition of my jaw. It's also going to get collected here, giving me an illusion of a double chin.
Okay.
Yeah?
Okay.
Now, when it comes to face yoga, people look at internet tutorials and then start following, yeah? What they don't understand is lymphatic drainage is a downward movement. Face lifting is a upward movement.
Okay.
So when I do my teacher training, I teach all my teachers the basic principle that you divide the face into the central meridian or the axis. Everything when in a lifting format will go up. So when, if you notice just now, I did this. I said swipe, lift, and then drain. In yoga, every left has a right. You have to have a counter, right? So when you're doing a downward movement, so that your eyes don't become droopy, you first lift, pause for a second, build that muscle memory, and then go downwards. Now, if I do the opposite, I just go swiping down, 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 without the lift. It's a very small movement, like maybe 1 mm. But if I don't do it, that's a wrong movement of face yoga, because now, while I will depuff my face, I am also initiating the droopy eyelid.
Oh, okay.
Because over the years, my eyes are going to get droopy.
Okay.
So that's a wrong face yoga.
So you spoke about the muscle memory, right? So help me understand a little bit about that.
Muscle memory is works on the same concept that, let's assume you're exercising. You've exercised your face, you've exercised your body. For the past, you have a wedding in the family for 3 months, yeah? You've attended the wedding, you enjoyed it, you looked perfect. Now, you don't exercise for a month and a half after that. We all have been through that. Doesn't mean that we will put on 10 kgs of weight straight up, right? We might put on half an inch or a half a kilo here or there, but we won't put on drastically. That's because these muscles have memory. They are going to be tight and taut for some time, till the time they don't come back and become saggy or lose that strength. Now, or muscle mass, so what to say. Now, the same principle applies to face yoga. If you do the right movement, the muscle will stay like that for anywhere between 2 weeks to 2 months, depending on how strong your muscles are and what your food habits are, because how much protein do you take in your diet as well. Now, this, if you stop doing face yoga, doesn't mean that your face will start sagging suddenly. The muscle will have that memory to stay tight or plump or taut for a little period of time before, again, it goes back to ground zero. Now, here, ground zero is also different, because if, say, I am 40 and with face yoga, I've taken 5 years off my age. So now the muscle will come back to an age of 35 or 36, and that's where the cycle will start, right? It won't start at 40, 41. So that's the difference, that's muscle memory.
I mean, this is something which we have never explored into, and all that you're saying is like very, very interesting for us. I think, I'm sure even for my team, it's quite interesting. So now next I want to ask you about this. There's so much about skincare. People are doing 10-step routine, 20-step routine. There's so much madness. For a person like me, who just, first of all, I'm not very inspired. This is not my top priority, but I would love to be very presentable, have a great healthy skin. For somebody who's like me, who's watching this, what would your suggestion be? What should I use?
Keep it simple. We don't need 10-step routines, and we definitely don't need 10-step Korean glass skin routines because Korean skincare doesn't work on Indian skin, right? Their skin is thin. They have a lot of collagen. Their food habits are very different. They don't have the masalas we have in India. Our skin is very different. Our skin is melanin rich as well. So keep it simple. Have 2 or 3 steps in your routine. Start with a face wash. Please wash your face in the morning and evening. I think a lot of people don't wash their face in the morning, or they will use besan or home remedies. While I'm huge for DIYs, it does not deeply clean the skin. And that's where your pores get clogged and you get open pores. So use a face wash. A gentle hydrating face wash is fine. Or shikakai. You want a DIY, then use the right DIY, right? Use a serum or a toner, because a water molecule penetrates deeper into your skin layers than an oil molecule. Use an oil or a moisturizer, or you can even skip this step if you're in a hot climate and you have extremely oily skin. Please apply a sunscreen. Sun protection is very, very important. It's the cheapest anti-aging solution that you can get in the market. Do not use a chemical sunscreen or a sunscreen that says organic, because an organic sunscreen is also a chemical sunscreen, by the way. You have to read the label and say it should be a mineral sunscreen which has a physical filter, which is titanium dioxide or zinc oxide. These are the only 2 safe filter forms. I don't even consider face wash as a skincare step. It's an essential. So 3 steps, yeah. A water-based product, it could be a serum. Today, there are a lot of good serums which have skincare ingredients which are not just hydrating but correcting. So you don't need a separate treatment or a corrective agent, yeah. A moisturizer or an oil and a sunscreen. That's your AM skincare. For your PM skincare, again, a face wash, you could use the same oil to double cleanse. If you have a lot of acne or blackheads, whiteheads, double cleansing actually really helps reduce that because your oil glands don't go on an overdrive or over sebum production, and it balances your skin pH. So face wash, again, a toner and a moisturizer or oil, whatever works for you. This is it. This is your bare minimal skincare that you need. With this, I highly feel that you should also use an oil or a body lotion all over your body, not just your face, because people still do like 10-step routines for the face and now maybe neck, but they forget the body. And that's where a lot of issues like eczema, psoriasis, dry skin also come in. Of course, there are different conditions, but they all start because the skin was not nourished or hydrated appropriately. And hydrating your body goes a long way, especially if you are reeling under these conditions.
So this is something very funnily a friend of mine told me. Now people have started even taunting the early 20-year-olds, asking if they've not started the retinol process. Please throw some light on retinol. Why is there so much obsession about retinol, and what does it actually do to our skin?
I hate retinol.
Okay.
Again, it's herd mentality. I see so many doctors say, use retinol, use retinol. Retinol should be used, or if you are using it, in extreme cases of hyperpigmentation when nothing else has worked. Without even, or extreme cases of cystic acne when nothing else has worked. If you have tried alternative ingredients which are available in the market, there's no need for you to do retinol. Yeah. Now, retinol has a lot of side effects. People don't know the right way of using retinol. They end up burning their skin. People use retinol but don't use sunscreen. And then again, they'll burn their skin. Internationally, there are restrictions on retinol. You can't purchase over-the-counter retinol. And this is so funny. I've been talking about how I hate retinol for the past 5-6 years. I'm very passionate about this because I have so many cases of people who've ruined their skin and they come back for help. Why did you start it in the first place, right? Because somebody recommended, because online an influencer told you to use retinol without doing your research, without reading about it. Now, and I used to get a lot of flack from a lot of dermatologists that this is quackery, a natural, she has a skincare brand, she wants to promote her products. That's why she's saying this. But I was only speaking the facts because, yes, I have a skincare brand which gives me the privilege to have access to formulations, to information, to research papers, which you do not have as a local individual or, as a consumer. And that is where when I can also say, oh, retinol is selling the most by most skincare companies. Their profits are ABC. I will also sell retinol. But that is where ethical sourcing comes into being, ethical business comes into being. No, I'm not. I may be in the business of beauty, but I'm not in the business of ruining your beauty so that you come back for correction.
Right.
I want to give you correction straight up the first time. Now, so initially a lot of doctors used to say that, this is wrong information. Oh, in UK, it's only above 0.3% is banned. Nobody uses above 0.3. And in the past 6 months, the same dermatologists, if you go to their pages, have actually changed their pitch. They say, oh, don't buy retinol, who've done reels, who've done, things that you can pair this with this, use this, you can get it at your local chemist. Their pitch has changed, their reel has changed, and they're saying, you should use it under our guidance. You need to have a proper prescription. You should not buy it over the counter. Well, I was saying that from day one, right? And you actually pointed fingers at me for saying the right thing. And that is why I do not like retinol. The side effects of retinol are way, way higher than the positives of retinol. Retinol, when used incorrectly, also thins your skin, also gets you atopic dermatitis, increases your chances of skin cancer. A lot of teenagers are recommended retinol-based skincare. Later on, these kids are going to have kids. And if they've used retinol for a prolonged period of time, there can be birth defects in the child as well. Retinol is not just in the cream form. Retinol is consumed in the vitamin A form, as a drug as well. And very commonly found drug. So for 3 months, it gives you flawless skin and you love it. While you are to do that course only once in your life, people get hooked onto it and they keep doing it over and over again every time a single pimple bursts or a skin issue comes in. And that's where, again, the side effects of retinol surface due to long-term usage.
Oh my God, this is crazy. And it's equally scary because a lot of the influencers who probably may not be using these products, but just to promote something, they end up doing this and they have a lot of people who look up to them, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy.
And there is bakuchi oil and there's Revenage, which is plant-based. It is termed as natural retinol because retinol is so popular. But people don't use it. Or people say, oh, natural, it'll take time. It gives you the same efficacy, the same result in 1 to 3 months. That's the gestation period it needs to, you need to use it. But because it's natural, people don't want to use it. Because retinol is a trend, people want to use it. And that's without even giving this a fair chance.
Oh, okay. So when it comes to skin, right? What are the worst things people can do to their skin?
The worst things people can do to their skin is, of course, pimple popping like this. It's going to give you a scar. Suppressing your acne instead of bringing it out from the root cause. So, like in Ayurveda, we work with the root issue. We do not believe in temporary band-aid solutions. Temporary band-aid solutions is the worst thing you can do, because long term the issue is going to resurface. Not washing your face. People underestimate the power of cleaning your skin and letting your skin breathe. Overusage of products as well.
Okay.
Because I strongly believe in the concept of skin fasting. Once a week, do not apply any skincare. If you have extremely dry skin, just spritz a toner after your face wash and let your skin breathe. Because that is way more beneficial for the cell turnover and regeneration of your skincare, of your skin, than any skincare.
So is a man's skin different from a woman's skin? Because I see my husband use a random soap on his face and his skin is really good. And he looks at the bathroom, and I have so many products which I don't use. I just buy and hoard them. And I think his skin is better than mine. I mean, why?
Less is more, right? Well, yeah, a man's skin is definitely different from a woman's skin. Men have thicker skin.
Okay.
Yeah, and when you have thicker skin, then obviously you don't have so many issues that surface. But that being said, also the fact that they do not buy every trend and experiment and make their skin thin over a period of time, such as women, right? We'll buy any product, test it out, which has long-term, we may have used it in our teenage years, but the damage is being caused right now. So we've thinned our skin over a period of time. That's the difference. Too much usage, too little usage. That being said, men also have a lot of skin issues. And I think we need to talk about that. We always talk about the fact that men have brilliant skin and women don't. That's not true. I have a lot of men come in at the center who are teenagers, who are 20-year-olds, 21-year-olds with cystic acne, with acne issues. I think they just hide it under their beard wherever possible. Yeah. Men also get pigmentation because they don't use sunscreen. So those basic AM, PM essentials, they can skip the serum if it's too much for them. But again, a face wash, a moisturizer, and a sunscreen is the bare minimum a man should use in his day-to-day skincare regime as well.
Right.
So while they're thick skinned, their skin is different. They may get a little more physical activity than us women. We do tend to have a lot of sedentary lifestyle, habits. But men need to take care of their skin equally.
What is the major cause of pigmentation?
So again, nobody knows the real cause, to be honest, but hormonal imbalance, not using sunscreen in your younger years.
Okay.
Yeah, sun exposure. These are the two top factors that cause pigmentation. Retinol, of course, is also one. When you use it, so too much retinol is used to correct pigmentation. But too much retinol without the usage of sunscreen can also induce pigmentation.
Okay.
So it's a pro and a con.
Okay. So if somebody does not start using sunscreen like early on, what ends up happening to their skin?
So skin will wrinkle up faster. There will be brown spots, age spots, pigmentation. Pigmentation is called melasma, hyperpigmentation, so many other forms, right? That is what will happen. And if you don't use sunscreen, then you're increasing your chance of skin cancer as well later on.
Okay. But there are certain people who also say using sunscreen, like overdoing that, can cause skin cancer. What is true?
I am also not skin cancer, but I am also of the same opinion that do not overuse sunscreen.
Okay.
because if you use too much sunscreen, so cancer will be linked to oxybenzone, ivabenzone as ingredients. That's why that concept where if you use too much sunscreen, you can induce skin cancer. And then if you use mineral sunscreen, which is your titanium or your zinc oxide based sunscreens, it's a physical filter. But it's a metal filter, right? At the end of the day. So we as a brand, we have 4 sunscreens in our portfolio. None of them are over 30 SPF. We don't do the 50 SPF. We don't do the 70 SPFs because that is too much sunscreen for an individual to use. Over and above that, if you don't remove the sunscreen properly, then it's going to cause premature aging and fine lines, which is something that you don't want. Now, that's where the education, the healthy habit of double cleansing, of washing your face, which I've been talking about in this blog as well. Skincare is so deep, there's so much to it. You can't explain everything, so you tell an individual, wash your face twice. But the reason that or double cleanse in the night, is to remove that sunscreen to let your skin breathe again. I have this UV filter where I'm applying sunscreen and you can actually see the metallic filter on my skin go absolutely grey and dark because that's sunscreen sitting. So now while it's protecting me from the sun rays, if I let it stay on my skin, then my pores are going to definitely open up for oxygenation. My skin cannot breathe. I'm going to get fine lines. All of the other bag of worms is going to open up. Very complex, I know.
Exactly. I mean, for a common person to understand, what is SPF?
For a common person first to understand, moderation is key. Don't get confused. We talk on podcasts. We love jabbering. Sometimes we read so much, and this is an opportunity for us to show how smart we are. We are not smart. we just read and we decipher the information. But in true reality, just use everything in moderation and you should be okay. Don't get over confused.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
SPF, UVA, UVB are filters, so titanium dioxide, zinc oxide, oxybenzone, ivabenzone are all filters. There are UV rays from the sun which are penetrating into the deeper layers of our skin. Now these filters are like barriers, right? It'll block A ray, it'll block B ray, it'll block C ray, and it'll bounce back or it'll absorb. SPF is the number of protection that you get. Now, in again layman language, 30 is 30 minutes of protection. 50 is 50 minutes of protection in layman language, but we do not actually take it as, because you can stretch your 30 to 60. You can stretch your 50 to say 120 or 2 hours in the sun. And that's why people say, if you are sunbathing, or doctors say, if you are sunbathing, reapply your sunscreen because now you are directly exposed to sun. But does that mean that if I am going from my house to my car, to my workplace, do I need to reapply my sunscreen 2 times, 3 times a day? Maybe not. Once a day is enough. And again, the concept of once a day is also new because of blue light which is emitted through our computer screens, through our phone screens. That's why that extra bit is needed. Otherwise, initially when our computer exposure was not so much, just applying sunscreen in the morning or again in the evening before you step out was enough. But now we need that little extra because we're constantly in front of a device which is also emitting the same rays, and we need that protection.
Got it. I think I recently saw a video of somebody doing a red light therapy on their face. What does it actually do?
Red light therapy is a controlled wavelength or light, and which is a NASA technology, now easily available for all of us to use commercially. We sell about 5 or 6 red light therapy products on our website as well. Red light was used for wound healing or skin healing. This pre-measured wavelength actually initiates the auto-healing response of your body. Today, there are these electronic acne patches as well, within 2 hours, your acne and your inflammation, your redness will subside. Red light is very, very good for collagen boosting. So the collagen synthesis that you activate while having a supplement, you can also activate with red light therapy. Any sort of inflammation anywhere on your face or neck will start to reduce. Fine lines. Now, because collagen is getting produced, fine lines will also, there's a fat layer. The fat layer comes up, so your skin is stretched. Now, when your skin is stretched, the fine line disappears.
All right.
Yeah. When the collagen layer reduces is where the skin is falling flat and getting wrinkled up.
Correct.
So now red light induces that as well. And it doesn't stop at red light. There's red light, blue light, purple light, yellow light. There's 7 lights which are available today. Red light is used overall as a broad spectrum light. What it also does is it helps the mitochondria release AT, which helps in overall cell health.
Okay.
So what to say.
Okay.
Now, the same process, this is the deepest layer of penetration. With blue light, with purple light, with yellow light, you're targeting acne, you're targeting bacteria, you're targeting lymphatic circulation. So the other lights also start giving benefits depending on the issue you're looking at resolving.
There are no side effects?
Not that we know of any. I always say that right now there is no research. And this technology is about 25, 30 years old. So it's not new because it was proprietary with NASA before the research papers came out.
Right.
And we can use it commercially. So 30 years, there's been no side effect. Let's wait for the next 30 to know.
So generally when people come to you, what do they come to you for?
They come to me for anti-aging to start with. They come to me with skin issues because they've gone to multiple places. Nothing's worked, whether it's acne or pigmentation. These are the 2 primary issues we specialize in. I take great pride in saying that we really help individuals with pigmentation reduction. The 4th issue that people come to me majorly is dark circles.
Okay.
Yeah. And now again, because, I don't just give them ye cream laga lo or do this face yoga exercise and your dark circles will reduce. No, I'll understand their habits. I understand their skincare. I understand their food habits. I understand their lifestyle, their screen time, their sleep pattern. We have an in-depth form. Then they sit down with me. We analyze all of it. We analyze if there's underlying deficiency or a condition. And then we build a protocol or a skincare habit or a skincare tool recommendation for them in accordance to who you are, what you can do. That amount of customization or localization that we bring on the table is what I specialize in.
Right. So what is the reason for dark circle? Because it's still the skin on our face. So why is that here we don't have that kind of a pigment, but wherein we have the pigment here?
So of course, dark circles can be hereditary as well.
Okay.
The fat content under the eye is far lower than that on our cheeks. Collagen. Fat content is collagen.
Okay.
Right? So now when it's lesser, that's where the hollowness of the eyes comes in. You could have an iron deficiency because of which your under eye appears much darker than it is. You could be having too much of coffee, tea, alcohol, which is where your under eye darkness is also very, very prominent. You could have too much of screen time and your sleep pattern, because no matter how much anti-aging, skincare, face yoga you do, if you do not sleep, you will have dark circles. Your lifestyle may be hectic. Right. So these are all of the factors. And now sitting with, say, you, understanding which factor it is, enlightening you that, okay, now this is your primary cause, and then saying this is the supplementary solution to it, is what we do.
So the under eye creams, do they actually work?
The under eye creams work. See, under eye creams are again pure hydration, right?
Okay.
Now, when you don't have collagen or fat is a lubricant, yeah, which is releasing oil, which is nourishing. If you don't have fat, then you need topical nourishment.
Correct.
If there's no topical nourishment, your fine lines will be way more prominent. Your under eye darkness will be way more prominent.
Okay.
Eyes will be tired. So under eye creams definitely help. The ingredients in it. If you can't do physical face yoga, you can't do physical massage, then the ingredients like peptides. Peptides are signaling ping, ping, ping to the brain. that send repair cells, send blood circulation to this area specifically. So now that becomes a complementary massage technique, but you're just sitting, you're applying the eye cream. You've possibly just applied it and done 2-3 strokes of it.
Okay.
But the cream is doing the rest of the massage for you.
Okay.
Or the ingredient, say caffeine, is doing the rest of the depuffing for you. So again, depending on what your issue is, the ingredient works.
Nice. So if you could teach us very simple face yoga techniques, what would they be?
Tell me a part you want to focus on. Nose?
I mean anything. I would love to learn any part of the face.
Let's start with the nose.
All right.
Yeah. So as we age, the nose muscles get lethargic as well. Nose aging happens at 2 forms. Either a hook form of aging where this starts to bend, or these nasalis muscles on nostrils actually expand. Yeah, and that's where you need to correct them. You make a A of your index finger. You lift these muscles up. Do this with face oil. Today we're doing it.
Okay.
Take the index finger of the other hand, lift the hook, tuck it into your third eye, building that muscle memory, going all the way up.
Okay.
Now you do this about 20 times to actually tighten the muscle physically.
Okay.
If I have to give you another exercise, which is also pranayam related, because oxygenation is what will bring the glow onto your face, right? I call it the bulldog push in my teacher training book program. You will place your index finger on the sides of your nasalis. We will apply equal and opposite pressure while inhaling. Expand your nostrils, exhale and push it in. Now, not only is there lung focus, there's a lot of oxygen that you're bringing in to your face, blood circulation, and this pressure, equal and opposite counter of yoga, is actually like you're doing Kapalbhati,
Right.
but of your nostrils, this tiny muscle focus to exercise. So these would be 2 exercises I can give you
For the nose. And anything else for the cheeks and the jawline?
Absolutely. So for the jawline, let's do one exercise which combines the cheek and the jaw. We eat food 2, 3, 4 times a day. We're chewing. This muscle, the masseter, is a very, very overworked muscle, which becomes heavy, stores a lot of stress, and then starts to sag our cheeks and our jowl. You take your thumb, you find the masseter joint a little higher, open your jaw. It'll pain.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And you just hold it. Then you move your jaw up and down. This will work in cheek and jaw toning and tightening, de-stressing the masseter from the top.
Okay.
You want to add the neck, making it a full lower face workout. You look up and you do the same exercise. You will even hear the crackling or your jaw move.
Okay.
Joint move.
Right.
Yeah?
Yeah.
This is very good for overall facelifting, jaw toning and neck tightening.
Okay.
From the top. Now you also de-stress the muscle from the bottom. So you always position your fingers like this. Make a hook. Use a face oil. This should not be done with the face oil. Make a hook of your index finger. Go in circles all across your jawline. When you reach the lower part of your masseter and you do these circles, again you'll feel knots or pain. De-stress it 3 circles clockwise, 3 circles anti-clockwise. Go all the way back behind your ear. Now with your lymphatic drainage, you're also depuffing and taking the muscle stress out.
Right.
All the way till your collarbone and relax. So now you've de-stressed the muscle and you've ensured that with the fluid, it comes out of the system as well. Have a glass of water. Flush out the toxins. This is a great exercise for jaw toning.
How long do you spend on an everyday basis to work on the face yoga?
So I do my 1-minute Vibhuti massage, which is my copyright, every day.
Yes.
Yeah. Apart from that, I do about 10 minutes 3 times a week. Sometimes, I'll be honest, as teachers, we have cheat codes. So my teachers and I, we have cheat codes. We spend like 3 minutes if we don't have enough time. You know, when you're taking classes, you're teaching, your face is also getting worked out in the process. So I have certain exercises that I've written, which will exercise the entire upper face and exercise the entire lower face 2 exercises, one and one. And that's done in 2 minutes or 3 minutes, and we're done for the day. So that's the amount of time I spend on my face doing face yoga.
How did you dive into this?
I got the lemons of lupus. I was, when I moved to Delhi, I was diagnosed with a skin issue. And at that point in time, nobody really knew what the skin issue was. Everybody spoke about, I went to so many doctors and they all said it's atopic dermatitis. Now, when I looked up atopic dermatitis, all of us become Google doctors. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but we do, right? And there was no answer for it. One doctor really scared me. He played on my mind, where he told me that I have an autoimmune skin condition. I may or may not survive. My cells are actually, damaged, like destroying the healthy cells.
Okay.
And to confirm this, I need to go through a biopsy. The biopsy will be on my face, which will lead a scar. So I need to do a laser after that. And in fact, what he also did was he gave me a pill which induced a drug rash. So I had, like chickenpox or measles-like symptoms all over my face and body.
Okay.
And his assistant kept telling him, "Sir, this is a drug rash," but he wouldn't agree.
Okay.
That was the day where my husband actually pulled me out of his clinic. And there was no looking back. I started reading labels. I started understanding skincare. I started trying to figure what is it that is causing this reaction into me. Because apart from the drug rash, every time I would be in Delhi, for example, my atopic dermatitis would flare up. But every time I would go onto the outskirts or would travel, the dermatitis would actually settle in. My skin was far more calmer and rested, and I couldn't understand. Initially I thought maybe it's wine, maybe it's eggs, maybe parasitic inflammatory food items which are causing it. But later I realized that it's peppers, capsicum, bell peppers, which actually were my trigger. And bell pepper and aloo ki sabzi was my favorite. So I would take it to office almost 4 times a week for lunch, which was causing this. And that is where then I went. I studied yoga. I understood, skincare. I understood the gaps as to, okay, you have yoga, you have face yoga, you have skincare, you have formulations. How do all of these come together and help each other out?
Okay.
Because everything is working in silos. While even Ayurveda is a sister concern of yoga. Ayurveda also does a very small aspect of yoga. It's not the full spectrum, right? And they're also working in silos. There's nobody who, now there are people like you and I who are bringing all of this knowledge together,
right,
and creating a simplified path for people to understand.
Right.
And that is how I started.
Mentally and emotionally, what were you going through?
It was very traumatic.
Right.
It still is. It still is. Like I was on and I won't shy away from saying this, that the 10 days I spent in Dubai was actually for my own mental health. I was on a mental health break, advised by my restorative healer. Because, and at that point in time, it was even more difficult. I was newly married. Everybody's coming in and asking you, and when the dermatitis is right on your face, you looked a certain way your entire life, and suddenly you don't know what's happening to you. So it was, I didn't want to go out. I was in depression. I would come back from a party and start crying for no reason. I didn't even know what was happening to me. Going to work, facing my work colleagues, my team had become very, very difficult because they would see my skin crack and bleed. I couldn't even apply a simple sunscreen because that's where I realized oxybenzone, ivabenzone are actually carcinogenic ingredients, and every sunscreen would burn on my face. That is where I made it my mission to understand what are clean beauty ingredients, what can I do for people with skin conditions. Even today, when I listen to people's stories of how they faced it, I'm reminded of my story every day. And there are, no matter how strong we try to be, there are days where even I break down because You have to have a lot of courage in this beauty, in this world of aesthetics and physical beauty,
Yes.
to stand tall, and that comes from emotional strength.
So, in this journey, have you ever felt like giving up?
Once.
Okay.
I did feel like giving up once. Not from my end goal or the company, but just being exhausted, lost, not understanding what to do. Especially when that Shark Tank, bit had happened.
Yes.
It took a major toll at that point in time. But again, being in touch with your customers, their, some of their Sharks family members are my clients. and they're throwing names and they're desperately taking appointments. That's reassuring. So I pick myself up and I say, okay, Vibhuti, you're doing something right. Be at it. And that's where I try. I don't have it, but I try to get my strength. We make our mistakes, but seeing them happy is what is my biggest source of strength at the end of the day.
So, for all the young people who are watching this and they want to start something on their own at this point of time, but are terrified with the kind of competition that is out there and are also doubting themselves, what is your message for them?
Focus on your product. Because if your product is unique, competition will not scare you. Yes, there will always be the bigwigs of the company, of the world, who will come, can replicate your idea, pour in more burn money, and take it away. But if you have a unique product, you have the means today with digital media to go out there and create the propaganda, the awareness. Do that. That's step one. So you don't have to worry about competition initially. Don't expect hyper growth or extreme growth and waste time sitting with investors. I think a lot of startups, and again, like I've tried, I've also lost a few months doing that, only to realize it put me way behind my game than what I could achieve. Right? It's okay. I don't have hyper growth. I will grow at my own pace. But I don't have somebody sitting on my head all the time saying, show me the Excel, show me the numbers, let's do this, let's burn more, let's make a profitable company, a loss-making company just because you'll get better valuation. Don't get into that. That will be the biggest pull down. Build a strong, sustainable business. Focus your initial years and energy on it and create a business which is paying for itself.
Right.
If you have these 3 blocks set, there's no stopping you. You don't need anything else. Today at House of Beauty, we did not take any money from any of our parents. We did not take any bank loan. We started small. Of course, I wish that we have, face yoga centers and retail stores all over the country and the world. But if it doesn't happen in the next 5 years, it will happen in the next 15 years.
Right.
I just have to be consistent. So align your vision as a youngster. You're young, you're starting at 20. At 35, if you can achieve it, you've lived your life very, very well. And lastly, do not underestimate personal relationships. Because sometimes I also see this culture, especially in Gurgaon, where a lot of startup founders are living in these communities or dorms where everybody is making a startup or doing. So it's a co-sharing space. You and your colleagues are living there, eating, breathing your startup. Someone else is doing the same, and there are like 30 startups in that space. While it sounds very exciting and very focused, go back to your family. Spend some time with family as well, because we're not robots. We're not machines. We need to relax. Your mental health, your cortisol, your stress levels all come rooted from here, right? At the end of the day. How will you perform better at work if you don't take a step back and spend time with family?
That's so true. Vibhuti, thank you so much for being just so honest and I would say vulnerable because it takes a lot of courage for somebody who's built something the way you've built. It takes a lot of courage to come out and say, I also go through the same struggles that any entrepreneur out there would go through. And the kind of information that you gave us with respect to skin, with respect to the misinformation that is there in the market, it's going to open a lot of people's minds and eyes at the same time to starting to work on their skin the right way. Thank you so much for being here, and I loved this conversation.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to share my thoughts and my vision, and being a beautiful host and allowing me to speak and blabber as much as I do.
Thank you so
Gayathri.
much. Thank you.